Welcome back again to God's Nobody. I'm Monty's T-Bone. Wanted to go ahead and make a commentary video. I do random rant videos over on Rumble as well. Most of my material over there is largely political and social. So if you haven't, you may want to go over to God's Nobody on Rumble if you want to get some of my positions on social and political issues. There's also a lot of poetry that's over there as well. If you want to check out my videos there, that I'm also on Truth Social, also as God's Nobody. But when I started this program, I had decided that I was going to do different commentaries, and this seems like a good place to start. I was going to talk about the law of the universe according to Nikola Tesla. Now, I can't quote it verbatim, but it had to do with energy, vibration, and frequency. And of course, a lot of people know that that is now part of the New Age movement, the idea of energy, vibration, and frequency somehow being spiritual, or indicative of raising the level of the frequency of humanity, or raising the vibration of humanity in terms of a great awakening. I really don't want to get too critical about it because I have not watched enough videos or educated myself enough on the literature to have an informed opinion. What I want to do, though, is I definitely want to share my experience of the law of the universe according to Tesla, especially in terms of human relations. Let me talk about first energy. You know, one of the things I learned in my life over the 50 some odd years I've been alive, is that energy is an amazing tool to understand within the capacity of human relations. Let me give you an illustration. Say you have somebody who is yelling at you. They are bringing that hard, strong energy your way. They're loud, they're aggressive, right? It's amazing how you can offset that with a soft answer. You come in with that lower level of energy that just automatically starts to disarm them, right? And I've done that before where I've even had somebody cursing at me and they're loud, and I say in a very quiet voice, you know, I'm not cursing at you. I would appreciate you stop doing that to me. And they may not hear you the first time, and you say it again, you know, I'm not cursing at you. I'm going to ask you again to stop doing that. And you're saying it in a lower tone, calmer voice, and you're bringing that lower level of energy into the situation. It's especially worked in corporate jobs I had where a boss was being extra aggressive and loud with me out on the floor because he or she was trying to prove their point and get me to come up with my level of energy and match their intensity. And it never worked because I always understood what they were doing. And he or she always came off looking bad. So that would be an example of what I've experienced in terms of energy, in terms of human relations with other people. And of course, you can use it the other way too, that if somebody has a low level energy and you want to bring up their emotions, you can reflect a more boisterous type of emotion, bringing more energy into the situation. Now, another thing, let's talk about frequency in human relations. This has been masterful for me as well, especially if I have an aggressor who is constantly trying to goad me, constantly trying to do things to get a rise out of me, instigating, poking, and prodding. Well, reducing the frequency of your interactions with that kind of a person, man, it's just incredible. Because what happens is that it makes the intensity of that emotion stay with them because they can't dump it on you. They can't interact with you. They don't have enough time around you. So the frequency of it comes to rest on them. You see what I'm saying? Simply by you minimizing your interactions with them. Now, my experience in terms of vibration in human relations is largely because of a couple of bar fights I witnessed back when I was in my 20s and I was out dancing and boogieing and carrying on, you know, like most young people do. And the thing that I always remembered is after the fights were over, I mean, these were like free-for-alls. These were slaughterhouse places. They were lower than a dive, these places I used to go to. And they were break up furniture, break up everything type of fights. And I had stayed out of it and had kind of watched it. But one of the things that was interesting to me is that when you listen to people talk about what happened afterwards, they would say, oh, there was just a bad vibe in the air. Or, you know, I just had this, you know, there just wasn't a good vibe to the place. There just seemed something a little off that night. And I wasn't surprised when the fight broke out. I just wasn't surprised. And I had this same type of feeling before one night when I was sitting in a club and these two rough-looking dudes sat down next to me, right? And immediately I felt the hostility vibrating off both of them. And the one was sitting right next to me, and they had started talking about this guy across the way and how they didn't like the way he looked. Boy, he's a goofy blankety blank. Look at that goofy blank. And they were talking about this, and they're like, what are you looking at? The guy's not even looking at him. And I could feel the level of hostility coming from them, the bad vibe, that really aggressive energy. So I knew right away to take it down. I said, hi, my name is, and I introduced myself to the guy next to me. And then I reached across and introduced myself to the guy sitting next to him. Why? Because I wanted to take, if I could, that hostility down, if it was going to become directed at me. It was a way for me to immediately connect with them and say, hey, I'm a human being. How are you? This is my name. Hi, I'm a human being. This is my name. What is your name? You see what I'm saying? And of course, the vibe that was coming off them that night, the energy that they had in terms of the hostility, and then the frequency with which they were looking at this guy across the way, and then kind of looking at different people, my suspicions were confirmed, because it wasn't long after when those two guys sat down that the bartender snuck around the corner with a cell phone, and she had called the police, and the one guy said to the other, ooh, let's get out of here. She called the police. Well, they went out the back door of the place, the two hostile guys. The police come in the front door and said, where'd they go? To the bartender. She said they went right out back. Police went right outside to try to find him. And it was later confirmed to me by the bartender as I was continuing having a couple beers and talking with her that those guys had been thrown out of that place around 6 months to a year ago. And she knew that when they came in, because of past experiences with them, that they were there to make trouble. So I just wanted to go ahead and make a commentary on my experience of Tesla's law of the universe in terms of what I've known in human relations in regards to energy, frequency, and vibration. Until next time, this has been God's Nobody, Aunties T-Bone on the mighty YouTube. Goodbye now.